est morte.
Fire everything!
What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today is August 18th, and if you guys enjoyed that meme, definitely smash the like button. Also, another post that I did yesterday that ended up getting a lot of attention is Bitcoin bear logic. The bears are basically saying, see, told you so, when they were bearish the entire uptrend. It's kind of funny. The bears take a victory lap. So a lot of people are wondering, why are we dumping? Why is Bitcoin today seeing such tremendous downside over the past, 24 hours? One of the reasons we saw today, from the stock market at least, was that Wall Street is getting a little bit sketched out by the fact that the Fed may leave rates higher for longer. If you look at this orange line, this is the inflation rate year over year, and we had our first uptick, which means that people are starting to get afraid that the Fed funds rate, the interest rates, may actually end up having to stay higher for longer. That they may pause at some point after a couple more hikes, then end up pausing for a longer period of time than people previously anticipated. So this is getting Wall Street a little bit nervous. And this does affect Bitcoin because we trade Bitcoin in US dollars. So all of the Fed's actions play a role. Also, this move below this trend line was something that we discussed on this channel not too long ago. I think it was a couple weeks ago. I had a video here called S&P Breaking Down. This video right here from 2 weeks ago called Bitcoin Downside Possible as S&P Breaks Down. I want to play a clip from this so you guys can see. It's a very short clip. Just check this out. Overall, it just means that the momentum is starting to slow down for the S&P. But this does point to potentially the bearish momentum picking up for the stock market. And if that does actually occur, where we see continued downside, it may mean that Bitcoin would actually look to break down as well. So that was 2 weeks ago. And a lot of people are still wondering, why did Bitcoin dump? Well, I don't think it's a coincidence that we discussed bearish momentum in the S&P causing a break below the trend line like that. Looking at Bitcoin, we got the break below the trend line. So the answer to the question, why did we dump, is due to the downside pressure in the stock market. And I know a lot of people are going to say, no, it's because SpaceX sold Bitcoin. This is also a big misunderstanding in my opinion. SpaceX, that news came after the dump. After we dumped, that news came out. And that means it wasn't the catalyst. And also that news is not confirmed. It might not even be true. They didn't actually say SpaceX sold recently. They didn't say that in the report. And also, even if they did sell, it was not yesterday. It was a past report. So SpaceX, that whole idea is just not the case, right? The dump was because the S&P provided bearish pressure and Bitcoin followed. And this is exactly what we were talking about just a couple weeks ago. So that is really the answer. And that is why it is important to look at the stock market. And when you have these major bear markets and then a rally after a bear market, it's very unlikely to just recover back to the high. You still have residual bearish pressure that occurs. Residual bearish pressure, guys. There's sort of like aftershocks, like secondary waves of bearish fear. So you come down, you bounce up, another wave of fear. This is why in bear markets, you often test the lows again, and then you build out from there. Stuff like that. You get those secondary waves of fear. And if you look at the S&P 500, we are getting that type of a secondary wave where we had a major recovery. Now we're getting a little bit of that fear again because the inflation rate ticked up. So the inflation rate, if you're looking at this chart, you can see the red line is the inflation rate year over year. We recently got an uptick for the first time since June of 2022. We had a breakdown where the inflation rate hit lower lows for the first time in September of 2022. And what was September 2022? It was the bottom of the S&P. Look at Bitcoin. It was right near the bottom for Bitcoin. So the inflation rate trajectory played a huge role where smart money stepped in and began to buy up the market in anticipation for a rate hike pause. So I'm going to make the rates white here. The Fed funds rate is slowing down, though we may have a couple more hikes before a pause. So smart money buys up the market, so it basically front runs a pause. If smart money was buying the lows in anticipation of inflation coming down and the Fed pausing, well, that run has been priced in. So the pause may not be as bullish as everyone expects. I don't think it's going to be some big event where the markets just go to the moon again. The market right now is in fear that they may have to drag on the rate pause. They may have to just leave rates higher for longer to maintain inflation and to keep the inflation rate from bouncing back up. So this is how speculation is driving the market right now. And so, yeah, I mean, Bitcoin breaks the trend line as the S&P pulls back, as discussed 2 weeks ago. S&P coming down, Bitcoin follows. This is pretty common in bear markets. Bitcoin behaves this way usually. So this is all very important stuff. Now, what do we have for Bitcoin? We have, a flat top, and we have horizontal price action, flat support, flat top, kind of a sideways channel. Since, March, Bitcoin has had no significant change in price. Despite all the volatility, no significant change in price. And so the next thing to discuss is the RSI on the weekly. The RSI on the weekly has now seen a breakdown. Not just that, but also a break of our lows, right? So we have the horizontal RSI support, broken. So we really have two breakdown points right here. We have a break of the RSI trend, breakdown here. And this is very important. This is really critical RSI structure that should not be ignored. A lot of the biggest trend pivots take place upon RSI structure being broken. You can just see it. You can just see it on the chart for yourself. These RSI pivots are a huge deal. The 2017 bull run into 2018 ended with a break of the RSI horizontal support. So, that is kind of what we're seeing now in a way. It's obviously different, but this could just mean Bitcoin is going to be following this RSI downtrend, right? Because when you look at the RSI, these bull trends like 2017, higher highs on the RSI, when you get these lower highs in the RSI, that's where the bearish trends begin. So we had higher highs on the RSI until now, lower highs on the RSI. So it is possible that, one thing you could do if you're trading this market is keep an eye on this downtrend on the weekly RSI. And if we bounce back up, maybe look for resistance here. Maybe we break the RSI trend here. Maybe we actually end up going lower and then break it somewhere lower. The RSI downtrend is a good reference point to see where the resistance might be, where the breakouts might be. And so Bitcoin may, at some point bounce up, but that could be met with RSI resistance on the next bounce. And then we end up creating something like a head and shoulders and come down a little bit more before getting a base of support and then rallying into 2024 halving. And then we see, an epic bull market after the halving. Stuff like this is now possible. And why do I say it's now possible? Well, we broke the structure. You have constructive price action, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, and now break. This is destructive. It is trend destruction. And if you're going to analyze this market and actually take the signals for real, right? Not just cheerleading and not just, hoping. When you break a trend, the momentum shifts. Right? There's a shift in momentum and a shift in sentiment, so things could just slow down. If there's a trend that breaks, the momentum usually gets shot for some time to come. Trend breaks, momentum is shot. Goes up again, trend breaks, momentum is shot. Now, here's the thing. The price hasn't really gone up that much, right? Bitcoin has gone from 15K to 30K, 100%. In Bitcoin land, that's not really all that much. So this trend break is not going to be as dramatic as these major bull market trend breaks, right? It just might mean more along the lines of a little bit of sideways and down. So you might see Bitcoin actually bounce up and retest the previous support as resistance. Everyone's going to be screaming, recovery, recovery. Look, we're back. Bull is back. And then, we slow down again along the RSI resistance line, maybe hit a low here, pull back, and maybe we get like slight bullish divergence, and then Bitcoin's at a new low and then recovers from that point. Things of that nature, right? So it's just momentum shifts, you get a little bit more sideways, maybe a little bit more down, get the accumulation to take place, and then going into 2024, we rally out again. So I just wanted to make a video today to explain a little bit further why the market's dumping, what we can expect, you know, what are the forces at play. So if you guys enjoyed this video, definitely smash the like and subscribe. And once again, just to remind you, we have Patreon at $19 a month. And if you go annual, it's $16 a month. This is the lowest prices we've had for my Patreon since 2018. There are going to be limited spots, and this 70% discount will be over at the end of the summer. So just like a month away. So take advantage of it while it's here.